Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to another video on our YouTube channel. I am Manish Gupta, the founder of National Law Training Institute and currently in my final year at the National Law School Bangalore. So today we have a very special guest among us. We have Sreesha who got an All India rank of 6 in the recently concluded NLSAT 2025. Sreesha was a student with the National Law Training Institute and he performed exceptionally well and everyone at NLTI is extremely proud of him. So, Srisha, over to you. I would love to know about your educational background. Where are you from? Where did you do your schooling from? Which stream did you take? What did you do in your graduation? So, a little about yourself so that everyone knows what they're signing up for in this video.
Yeah. So hi Anish. I did my education from. I'm from Bangalore, and I did
Okay.
all my education in Bangalore. I did my bachelor's in commerce from St. Joseph's College, Bangalore. Then, yeah, I was pursuing the CFA, and I wanted to pursue a career in finance. And while preparing for the exam, I came across the NLS executive program on business laws. I think it's called
Yeah.
Masters in
MBL.
Business. Yeah. So I wanted to do that because I was always curious about law. I used to, since I was involved with stock markets, I used to follow what's happening. The AGR dues case in the COVID,
Yeah.
and there was a tussle between Reliance and Amazon regarding this acquisition of Future Group and all that. So
Yeah.
I was following about all these cases, and then the hijab case in Karnataka. The High Court of Karnataka started live streaming
Hmm.
the hearing. So I used
Yeah.
to come from the college every day and watch it. That's when I came across all this basic structure and
Hmm.
Shirul Math case, essential
Yeah.
religious practice, and all this. And ever since then, law was on my mind, but I never considered it to be a career option. But
Hmm.
then, as I was preparing for my CFA exams, I realized that this is something that I'm not interested in doing all my life. And that's when I decided to take up NLSAT. So I took NLSAT in 2024, but I did not secure admission. I did secure
Okay.
admission in other colleges outside Bangalore, but I was not very keen on going out. So I joined a college in Bangalore, and even I had enrolled for. I was part of their LLB program.
Okay.
Uh, I gave up on NLSAT. I didn't have any plans of taking the exam again. I was completely engaged in my college life here. I even
Hmm.
participated in the moot court, got the best
Okay.
memorial award as well recently. So then it was in January I watched this interview of last year's All India Rank 1, and
Hmm.
that is when I decided to. I realized that there are a lot of things that I didn't do, yet I had got an All India rank of 132 last year. I
Hmm.
didn't even complete my essay last year. So I
Okay.
thought I can give another go at it, and that's how I started prepping. I started preparing for NLSAT in after my first semester exams in February, first week of February.
Okay. So you prepared only for a couple of months, right? Before April.
Yeah, yeah. So it
So,
was totally
Srisha,
3 months.
you said you didn't do a lot of things last year. So, what do you think? What made the most difference in your preparation this year? Like, what was that game-changing thing you did this year that helped you the most in your preparation and ultimately helped you get this rank?
I think mocks are the most important part of this exam. If
Yeah.
I say like there is no conceptual learning for this required for this exam. It is simple articulation and reading. So, so time management is the one of the most important factor that would dictate one's success in this exam.
Yeah.
So the only thing that can train you to complete it in the given time is mocks. So I took around 23 mocks this time, combined all. Some were sectional, some
Right.
were full. But yeah, I attempted 23 mocks and getting that constant feedback for part B answers. So all
Yeah.
the things helped a lot.
Right. Srisha, you talked about time management, and every other topper that I take the interview of talks about time management. So, how do you suggest people manage their time? Were you able to complete your part B this time? Like last year, you mentioned you were not able to complete the essay section. So, were you able to complete it this time? And if yes, how did you manage your time?
Yeah, I completed the paper this time. In fact, I completed around 3 4 minutes earlier, and I was
Okay.
going through the question paper because I knew that they are going to release the answer key, and it is good to know
Yeah.
which this passage came first for us and all that. So
Yeah.
I had planned to complete part A in 1 hour 10 minutes, and I took, I
Okay.
think, 1 hour 15 minutes because it was a bit lengthy this time.
Right.
And I had planned to give approximately 10 minutes for each part B, the
Hmm.
cases, the five cases.
Right.
So 50 minutes
Yeah.
plus, not 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 2 minutes for reading and 10 minutes for answering it.
Right.
Then the remaining time for essay. And I was
Got.
very clear from the day one to do part A first and part B, because part B is writing. If
Yeah.
one plans to do part A requires you to patiently read the passage and answer it. You cannot do it in at the end moment. Whereas part B
Definitely. Yeah.
can be done even at the last minute.
Yeah.
That was my strategy.
And since part A is also the qualifying section, it doesn't matter if you are getting 17 part B, but your part B is not getting checked because you didn't qualify the part A cutoff. So yeah, it is definitely recommended that you first do part A with a clear mind because it requires objectivity. It requires you to think critically, and that can only be done if you're not in that pressure of time management. So, Srisha, if I heard you correctly, you took 75 minutes for part A, and then you were left with 75 minutes for part B, and those 75 minutes were divided in the following format that for every legal reasoning case study, you took 12 minutes. So, five case studies, 12 into 5, 60 minutes for the case studies, and then 15 minutes for the essay.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Srisha, now coming on to, we'll talk about part A first. So, since you are from Bangalore, I'm assuming you already have a good command over the language. English is something that does not bother you much. But still, how did you prepare for the English and critical reasoning component? As everyone suggests that you need to read diverse things, you need to practice a lot of things. So, what were your go to sources for diverse readings?
Yeah, so since I come from the commerce background, we are not
Hmm.
used to reading a lot.
Yeah.
Unlike most of the people who are enrolled for this exam are from the humanities background, and
Social sciences background. Yeah.
so they are used to reading. But I do read. I have the I have the habit of reading books. So I
Okay.
like reading books on politics, and on even I've read books on finance. So that is one thing. And how I train myself for this exam is I stumbled upon this compilation of reading comprehension questions of GMAT, GRE, and LSAT.
Yeah.
So from March, I decided to do at least 5 questions every day. And I also had a tracker pasted on the wall in
Hmm.
front of my table, and I used to take every day. So that uh, trained me to. And this LSAT and GMAT, they have a diverse passages. There are
Yeah.
passages on literature, there are passages on law, there are passages on science-based things, random things that we don't even know about. In
Yeah.
fact, in NLSAT, we usually get passages from Indian Express and Hindu
Hindu.
on contemporary issues. So we are familiar with what is there in that. But in this case, it is completely the passage. We have to rely on the passage. So
Yeah.
I did that consistently. So that increased my reading speed heavily. And along the during the course of the preparation, I would suggest one to read whatever possible, whatever they like. So I continued reading all the books that I used to read. It was not like
Hmm.
I'm preparing for an exam, so I should leave everything and concentrate on only on this. So I did all my reading. In fact, I read
Yeah.
less newspaper and more of books and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right.
So the
So your key. key suggestion would be to continue reading whatever interests you. That will help you maintain your consistency and your reading speed. And to improve your reading speed, simultaneously go for these compilations like GMAT Club, LSAT questions. That will help you increase the difficulty level of the stuff that you're reading also, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Srisha, then we'll move on to the GK section. How did you prepare for GK, and was the final paper up to your or similar to what you were expecting from the GK section?
Yeah. So in the last attempt, I made this big blunder of reading IAS magazine for my current affairs prep, and the NLSAT
Okay.
exam nothing close to those IAS based current
Yeah.
affairs, because NLS doesn't ask about government schemes unless it is controversial, unless
Yeah.
it is being discussed. For example, there was questions on GST last time. In fact, GST there was nothing, and some static uh, questions also, static GK on GST. So
Yeah.
reading IAS based magazines and all, it's not going to help. And making a note of current affairs from the news, it it doesn't work out at all. So what
Hmm.
really helped me is reading the compendiums, and I used to make note of some issues, like for example, three language policy. So it
Yeah.
was in the news all the time. So three language, and there was US elections. So things like whichever I came across, I used to make a note and read about it later. And of
Hmm.
course, the compendiums helped a lot. And yeah, this time the GK, I had prepared well for it. I got, I think, most of the questions. From what I got some 8 GK questions wrong, but it is
Okay.
still a good thing,
Still a
because
great score. Yeah.
I don't think anyone is going to get everything right. There was
Yeah.
no news, absolutely no news about Pakistan political parties, but they asked something about which party Imran Khan belonged to. And India is planning to conduct host Olympics in 2036. And
Hmm.
they didn't ask when they are going to conduct, planning to host it. They asked who they have appointed as the director to manage everything. So I don't think it was in any newspaper or anyone would have came
Hmm.
across it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, compendiums and anything, any issue where there is something different, something controversial, or yeah, something is some out of the norm or something like that, one has to
Hmm.
uh, usually prepare for it, because that's what NLS is going to ask.
Right. Srisha, I'd like to take you back. So you told me that you started your preparation while you were already doing your law from another college. So after you started your preparation in February, were you required to do some tasks of your college as well, or did you focus exclusively on NLSAT preparation? I'm asking this because a lot of aspirants have this question of whether you can crack NLSAT alongside your college.
Yeah, I think so, because I had classes all along. For the month of
Okay.
Feb, I had holidays, but March, April, I had classes going on. So every day I used to go to college. Half a day I used to spend in the college. I used to come home by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I could give only the evenings for NLSAT preparation. And I think it is possible to prepare part time, because, as I said, there's no, it's not like a CA exam or something
Yeah.
like that, because there's no conceptual learning. It's all practice. So if
Practice.
someone can keep aside 2 hours in a day, they can, I think, easily crack this exam, given that they do mocks in the weekend. And this time I even got a week's holiday. There was a long public holiday and everything, so I planned it well. So that helped me, but I think it can be done part time.
Got it. Srisha, moving on to part B, what is your advice on writing good answers? This is something I asked to all toppers. Did you prioritize writing more, or did you prioritize writing less but with a better quality?
No, I didn't prioritize writing more at all. I don't think they're looking for quantity. They are
Hmm.
looking for articulation, they're looking for reasoning. So I think, and they're also, I think, they look for some amount of creativity, new ideas, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's all. I concentrated on that. I tried to make two or three arguments, and I started my answer with a brief outline of my argument, a thesis, as a mentor of
Hmm.
NLTI said, a thesis kind of a thing. Then I
Yeah.
went on to make my arguments and finally concluded. So yeah, so and it was more about preparation for part B is all about getting feedback from people, from
Yeah.
mentors, people who have taken the exam. So when initially I remember I got like 5 out of 12 for all the 12, or yeah, for my
Hmm.
answers. Then eventually it improved to 8, 9. So I think that's the only way to train for this.
Yeah. Srisha, so you mentioned how important getting feedback on your Part B answers is. I'd like to ask you about the role that NLTI played in your preparation. Did you find us helpful? Did you feel that the price you paid to get our mentorship and test series was worth it? And would you recommend NLTI for future NLSAT 26 aspirants?
Yeah, definitely. I found it very helpful because what I think is this exam is a bit new. It is just, I think this is the fourth year of the exam. So, lot of coaching institutes, the mainstream ones, they don't know how to deal with this exam. So they just use the CLAT training module and to
Yeah.
for this. So that is where I think NLTI's whole student-run model comes into picture, and it is quite effective. The feedback that we used to get, I think, feedbacks in couple of days, and in April, as we went near the exam, we got it, and we used to get it in a day almost, get or sometimes even 3 to 4 hours before a week
Yeah.
before the exam. So that helped a lot. And yeah, so and it was quite detailed. The feedbacks were not, it was detailed. They were, the mentors used to tell what can be done, what can be included. So that's the biggest role NLTI played in my prep. And of course the mocks were very close to the exam. I felt I even told you on the day of the exam that the mocks, it felt like
Yeah.
a extension of the mocks given at NLTI. So yeah, I would definitely recommend NLTI for
Right.
anyone who is
Thank you
planning
so
to
much
take.
for that, Srisha. Yeah.
Yeah.
One last question before we wrap up this interview. What is one piece of advice that you would like to give to future NLSAT 26 aspirants? Something that is inevitable for their preparation.
I would say try to prepare as organically as possible because it's an easy exam there. So don't complicate your preparation. Just start by reading a lot, and as you read a lot, you'll get better at writing. Because I am from commerce, as I said, I don't know, writing is some of was not my strong suit at all because we are
Yeah.
used to writing answers to the point about concepts. So here
Hmm.
it is completely different. It requires articulation and all that. So I would say you don't actually need a lot of time. So it's okay if you give it less time. So read a lot, and yeah, I think that's it.
Right. So thank you so much for that, Srisha. I really appreciate you taking out time and agreeing for this interview. I hope I believe all future aspirants will find this very helpful, and all your suggestions will be taken into account by all future aspirants. So thank you again for joining in, and congratulations on getting into NLS. We definitely look forward to seeing you on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Anish.